Hey everybody, we just wanted to first off say thank you so much for being a part of one of our mission trips this next year. I know that we are so excited for you guys to participate and to go all over the world to see what God's going to do, not just in your lives, but through your lives. And what we wanted to do right now is make this short video to give you guys some tools and some tips and tricks on how to support Raise and be most effective in this area when it comes to our mission trips. And just so you guys know, this type of support raising has been most effective for Chi Alphas all over the nation for many years. In fact, back when I was in Texas and we were sending out mission trips, there was one year in particular where we needed at least $500,000 for all the students who signed up on a mission trip to participate. And I remember after doing all the numbers, asking, Lord, I don't know if this is possible. $500,000 is a lot of money. But sure enough, not only did we raise $500,000, the Lord came through and we had $550,000 raised through the student support efforts that year. So this is the most effective way that we have experienced God providing for our trips, and we know that it's going to be not just effective for you guys to raise your funds, but also to see God use you and prepare you for your mission trips even before you get on the airplane. So we're excited, and what we want to do first is we want to go over the biblical basis of support raising. There are three main ways that the Bible talks about support raising. The first is what they would call self-support, and you can find that in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 9. The second way that the Lord provides through the Bible is through miracles, and there's a good verse in 1 Kings chapter 17, verses 1 through 16 if you want to look that up. But the main way that we know God provides for our mission trip specifically is what would be called making an appeal. And you can read a great verse in Titus chapter 3 verse 13. We've found that making personal appeals to family and friends not only gets others more involved in what God is doing, but it also is most effective for our short-term trips. In fact, Paul himself made personal appeals to people for his mission trips using letters to the church. And we can read this right now in Romans chapter 15 verses 20 through 24. It says, "Those who have never been told of him will see, and those who have never heard will understand. This is the reason why I have so often been hindered from coming to you. But now, since I no longer have any room for work in these regions, and since I have longed for many years to come to you, I hope to see you in passing as I go to Spain, and to be helped on my journey there by you, once I have enjoyed your company for a while." So as you can see in verse 24, Paul isn't just telling the church that he's going to visit them. He's asking the church to invest and be a part of this trip to Spain with him. And this is where we get a main basis in the Bible for asking and for making an appeal for people to not only just give money, but to invest their part of their lives in prayer and fasting for you guys on your trips as well. And when we say making an appeal, it simply means sharing the vision and ministry with friends and family, the church, and anybody that you encounter, and asking them to prayerfully consider supporting you on a mission trip. Not only will God use you on a mission trip, but He will use you to share His heart when making an appeal to the people that you're asking to invest alongside you. And so this, in short, is just a biblical basis for what we would call making an appeal or support raising. So one of the ways we like to help you guys in the support raising season is what we call having support coaches. And what's great is since you already have a team leader for your respective mission trip, we ask our team leaders to be the support coaching role for you guys. Because not only are our team leaders most of the time staff members and have raised not only one-time budgets but monthly budgets, they have the experience to be able to help you guys raise these budgets. Okay, and so what we're going to ask you guys is to have a one-touch-a-week communication with your team leaders about your current support raising progress. What that's going to look like is we want you guys to send an email to your team leader, and in the email you're going to include what you have gotten accomplished or done that week, and then what you will do this next week as far as raising your support budget. The emails need to be sent out by 11:59 p.m. every Sunday whenever the team leader gives you the start date. And then your team leader will send you a response email by 5 p.m. on Monday. Sometimes the response email will just be something along the lines of, I received your email, keep working hard. Or the team leader will help give you some more tools or resources to help you guys be able more creative and how you can raise your support more efficiently. And what we also want to do is we want to encourage you guys that the first week of support raising, after you've been selected for a trip, you've watched this video, you've written your support letter, is really crucial. A slow start will really slow down your efforts, especially if you're planning to go on a spring break trip and you need to raise your funds as soon as possible. Do not procrastinate. We want you guys to be able to contact as many people on your list as you possibly can in your first week. This will make your support raising experience a lot smoother and more efficient. When it comes to writing a support letter, we have some helpful resources for you guys. First off, below this video on our webpage, we have a link to an example support letter for you guys to be able to download, read over, and even try to craft your letter or use it as a rubric for you guys. But there are a few things that we want you to be sure you include and take into consideration for your letter. We want you guys to be able to give a good background of Chi Alpha. That really is the basis of how you even got involved and were even invited to be a part of a mission trip in the first place. And so to give a good detailed description of what Chi Alpha is and how you got involved and how that led you to be a part of a mission trip is going to be a solid foundation for this letter. Next, we want to reiterate to you guys, we want this letter to be short. Normally, people only give enough time to read over one page of a letter. So we want you guys to be able to keep it concise and just keep in mind that people are going to have to read over this piece of paper. And we also want you guys to keep it interesting and keep it personable as well. The other two quick side notes that I like to give is, one, you want to make these letters personal. Even if you print out each one of these letters as just a basic letter on a printer, we want you guys to at least write their names and write a sincere closing to the letter so that the people know when they receive the letter that you've thought about it, that you've even prayed over this letter and are asking them to be a part of this with you. A few other notes for writing this letter. We want you guys to give a brief trip explanation to the people that you're asking to invest on this trip with you. You want to be sure to include how much support you're raising, and you want to be able to include the deadline of when you need funds. Particularly if you're going on an international trip, a good deadline to put in there is whenever we're purchasing airfare. So you want to be sure to put a deadline on the letter so people know that there is a time frame to send in support. And we want you guys to even include your contact information, your phone number, your email. That way, if they have any other questions about this trip, they can give you a call or contact you in some way. Now, if you have any questions as far as a trip explanation or deadlines for your budget, you can actually go to the database that we have you guys signed up on right now for your trips. That's managedmissions.com. If you haven't gotten a login, please just ask myself or someone on staff, and we'll be sure that we get a login and a profile created for you. And you'll be able to look over any other information as far as the trip, your budget deadlines, as well as important meeting times for your team or when missions training is. So we just wanted to remind you guys of that. Again, if you need help or a place to start when it comes to writing the support letter, remember there's a link below this video to look over an example support letter. There are a few other ways that are effective when it comes to support raising for your mission trips other than writing support letters. One of those ways that has been very effective over the past few years has been making phone calls to close families and friends. Now, when you make these phone calls, it's very similar to the same way that you would outline a letter for your mission trip. You really want to make sure that you sit down and that you write out a description of your trip that you're comfortable with, that you'll be able to communicate very easily over the phone in a short amount of time before you start making phone calls to your families and friends. And then whenever you're on the phone with them, again, just be personable. You want to talk to them. How's your day? How you've been? Catch up with them a little bit, and then be able to tell them that the reason I called you today is that I'm going on a mission trip with Chi Alpha, and I really wanted to ask if you wanted to be a part of this and invest in the trip with me. And just a few other little notes. When making phone calls, it's much faster than letters. You don't have to wait on the post office to send the funds into Chi Alpha. The other thing we want to make sure you do is if you do call your families and friend, make sure that you get a good email address to contact them with. That way, whenever you're done or at the end of the phone conversation, you can tell them, I'm going to send you an email with a link to our online giving site. And they'll be able to get an email in the next few minutes and then just click the link and give towards your trip. So phone calls are a great way in order to raise some of your budget. Another way you can do that is you can also just email people directly. Sometimes emails have been more effective here over the last few years, where people can just read through the short email and click a link and give towards your trip. This is not a very personal way for them to connect with you and your trip. So normally the giving isn't as great as it would be with a letter or a phone call, but it has been effective. One thing that we want to tell you guys is that social media, trying to raise funds through social media, does not work. We've had multiple people in the past try and raise support with their trips using Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is, and they barely raise any money through social media outlets. And so we just wanted to tell you guys that if you focus your time and your effort on your letters, on phone calls, on even emails, you will have far greater effectiveness when it comes to support raising. And the last note we want to give you guys is we want you guys to keep all the contact information and the name storming lists and everything that you've incurred through the support raising season. Because when you hold on to these contact information and these lists will help you if you go on a mission trip in the future, and will also help you in the long run if you feel like the Lord has put ministry as a calling over your life. The people that have given to your short-term mission trips really can turn into long-time future supporters as well. And the last thing is we want you guys to be sure to keep this in mind. You need to send thank yous to the people who have supported you after you get back from your mission trip. We've had multiple people do several different things, buy small gifts whenever they're are on their mission trip, whether it's little bracelets or little thank you cards there in countries. But above all else, we just want you guys to be sure that you send thank yous and send updates and tell people how trips went. And if you have any other questions on sending thank yous or any other particulars, again, you can ask me or anyone on staff to help you with that. And when we say contact as many people as you can on your list, what we're referring to is we're asking you guys to spend some time name storming particular people that you can contact in order to raise the support. And just to help you guys, we'll give you a quick list of ideas of people you can contact. Some of these you probably already thought of, but obviously the first group of people you can begin to contact is your family and your friends. These are the people that know you so well. They probably already know what God's been doing in your life through Chi Alpha, and so it'll be really easy to be able to send them a letter, and it'll be really easy to get their contact information as well. The next few groups are some that are you don't normally think about, but some good ideas for you guys are email lists that you may be a part of. If you're about to graduate, whether you graduated from high school and you still have your list of graduation invitations, or you're about to graduate college, you can use those contact lists. People from your church, if you've been involved in a church for a significant portion of your life, or if you've gotten involved in a church recently, you can begin to think about people in that church. People from your current or your old jobs or professions, a lot of times they'll be very generous or would love to just catch up with how your life is going. people in your small group, whether it's current small group people, people from your past small groups, they're great places to talk, and even professors. So just want to encourage you guys to think creatively, think out of the box with people you can contact and ask to be a part of this mission trip with you guys. So that really encapsulates what we would consider calling team leaders, support coaching, and even your first week and how you begin to name storm. And so lastly, we just want to give you guys some administrative information and details on where to send your support or ways that people can give towards your mission trip. So just some administrative information that we want to give you guys just for practical reasons. The first off, whenever you are writing your support letter and you finish it and you get ready to mail it out to people that you want to invest in your trip, there are a few other things that we want you guys to do in order to help you be most effective. The first is we want you to include within the envelope with the letter a second smaller envelope that we would call a giving envelope. And what this envelope needs to be is it needs to already be labeled with our current address for Chi Alpha, which is AKXA at 3010 Davis Road, apartment number B5, Fairbanks, Alaska 99709. And we want you guys to also make sure it is already stamped, and it includes what we call a donor slip, which is displayed here. And you can find these donor slips linked below the video, so you can print them out and cut them out and include them in the giving envelope. The donor slip helps ourselves on staff be able to designate where this donation needs to be applied to and which trip. And we want you guys to have it pre-labeled and pre-stamped. That way, whenever someone opens your letter, reads it, they're able to respond quickly and put their gift or their investment to your trip in the mail as soon as possible, in order to help you guys be able to meet those goals and those deadlines for your support budget. Another way that people can give is also using our website, which is displayed below. You can go to this website or you can email this website to particular family and friends if they want you to contact them through email. And they can go on there and give to you specifically through this website, and we will be able to make sure that that the funds get applied properly. What we also want to let you guys know is that all giving that comes in to Chi Alpha, to our mission trips, are all tax deductible for those people giving. There are some people who don't necessarily mind, but there are a significant portion of people who do want to know if this is a tax deductible gift, and you can be sure to include that within your letter or within conversations you have with people to let them know it is tax deductible, and we will send them a receipt of the gift. Now, the other thing we need to let you know, since this is a tax deductible gift, that means we are a nonprofit under the IRS. What this also means is that these gifts are non-refundable. So if someone gives, we're not going to be able to send the money back to them if they decide they wanted to change their mind. Also, this means if you are not able to participate in the mission trip, we won't be able to give that money back to the donor or be able to give the money to you. Instead, we will set the money aside for you for one whole calendar year to go towards another mission trip, or that money will just be set aside into the Chi Alpha Missions Fund after one calendar year in order to go towards Chi Alpha Missions efforts. So we just wanted to clarify those things with you guys beforehand. And again, if you have any other questions about this administrative information, please don't hesitate to talk to myself or anyone on staff, and we'll be able to give you a better understanding or detailed description of what this all means. And so with that, this really is the end of our support raising training video. Again, we're just grateful that you guys are going to be able to participate in these mission trips, and we just want to remind you guys that, trust me, the Lord is going to provide for you as long as you are obedient and you hold true to just these resources that we've given you guys. You can trust that the Lord is going to give the funds that are necessary for you to be able not just to experience what He's going to do in your life on these trips, but what He will do through your life wherever you go. So again, thank you guys, and we're excited to see what God's going to do in and through your life.